for some definitions. A perimeter is distance around a shape. So how far it is around the shape, around the outside. Okay, so distance around a shape. If you're talking about a polygon where there are straight sides, finding distance around the outside of the perimeter is pretty easy. So for example, let's say I had a triangle. This was 10, this was 5, and say this was 8. You would just add them up, okay? So this perimeter would be 23, okay? So for polygons, it's pretty easy. For circles, the perimeter is called circumference. So circumference is the perimeter of circles, okay? And what's going to be important is knowing what this radius is, okay? So a radius is from the center of the circle to the outside. Closely related to the radius is what's called the diameter, which goes all the way across a circle, okay? So a radius goes halfway across a circle. Diameter goes all the way across a circle, okay? The formula for circumference is the diameter times pi, okay? So we want this one. We want all the way across, okay? So if you're given the radius, it's pretty easy to come up with the diameter. Let's say the radius in this case had been, we'll make that a 9. Okay, so if the radius is 9, that means the diameter had to be 18, okay? Because the radius is halfway across the circle, the diameter is all the way across the circle, okay? So if you're given the radius, it's pretty easy to come up with the diameter. It's just 2 times the radius, okay? Because it's double it. This symbol here is pi, okay? And pi is the ratio of a circle, okay? For our purposes, when we punch into the calculator, we're going to use 3.14. Pi is an irrational number that goes on forever with no repetition, so we have to round it off to be able to use it. So we're going to use 3.14, okay? So circumference is just diameter times 3.14. So let's do some practice with this. Go ahead and delete all this. Okay. So here we have 2 circles. If you think you can do it on your own, go ahead and just pause the video and try it on your own, then you can check your work. But if you want some guidance about how to do it, follow me here. Okay, so the first thing when you get to a circle is you want to figure out, do I have the diameter or do I have the radius? On this first circle here, this is the diameter. Diameter is 4.2. The reason I know it's the diameter is because it's going all the way across the circle. Okay, so since I have the diameter, that's pretty easy. All I'm going to have to do is do 4.2 times my pi, or 4.2 times 3.14. And just punch it in, 4.2 times 3.14, and you get your answer. In this case, 13.188 centimeters. Okay? On this next one, I come and look at it, and now I'm noticing I was given a radius, okay? The reason I know this is a radius is because it only goes halfway across, okay? If it were to go all the way across, that would just be 2 5s. So that means the diameter in this case is 10. So my diameter is 10, okay? So that's the one I want. So be careful. Don't accidentally use the radius in this formula. It has to be diameter. So this is just 10 times 3.14. You don't even need a calculator for this one. Remember, it's just going to slide the decimal place once. And I get 31.4 centimeters for my circumference, okay? All right, so that's how you find circumference. Pretty easy. The only hiccup can be is if you get diameter and radius mixed up. So make sure you know which is which. All right, moving on. Go ahead and pause that when you try these 2 on your own, and then hit play to check your work when you're done, okay? All right, so let's check yourself. So this one should have been 8 times pi, because, oh, sorry, I almost did the thing I warned you of. First, what is this? This is a radius, right? So if that's 8, that means the diameter all the way across should be 16. So the number I'm using here is 16. So 16 times pi, not 8 times pi. Hopefully you didn't almost make that same mistake I did. All right, and we multiply it out, and we get 50.24 centimeters. Okay. The next one, this one, is a diameter. It's going all the way across, so I can go ahead and use 26. So it's going to be 26 times pi. So that means my circumference is 81.64 centimeters. Okay, so there we are finding circumference. All right. All right, so here is a polygon. The reason we know it's a polygon is it has straight sides. Remember, polygons have straight sides. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So this is actually an octagon. It's a funny looking octagon. It's not regular, but it is an octagon. All right, so when you have these irregular shapes like this, the first thing you want to do is make sure that each side has a measurement, because all 8 sides need to be included in the perimeter. Right now, I only see 5 numbers up here, so 3 sides are missing numbers. So a couple obvious ones. If that one across is 12, and this one there is 12, and then this one's 22, because they're the same as the ones opposite them. The only kind of tricky one is this one right here, okay? So the way I'm going to figure this out is I look over here, and I see that this whole side over here is 25, okay? That whole side is 25. That means if this was a solid side over here, it would also be 25, okay? If this is 9 and this is 8, that's 17 altogether. Okay, so that's leaving 8 more than I need to fill in. So that means from here to here, which is the same as this, is 8. Okay, so that's how you're going to figure out those missing sides. You want to look across and think about what would it all add up to. Okay, all right, so then the perimeter becomes pretty easy at that point. It's just a matter of adding up all your numbers. Okay, so the 22, the 8, the 12, the 8, the 12, the 9, the 22, and the 25. One thing you want to make sure is you didn't leave out any numbers, so it doesn't hurt to count to make sure the number of numbers you have, in this case 8, is the same as the number of sides, which it is. So, good strategy to make sure you don't leave anything out. If we add this all up, we get 118, and in this case there's no units, so you just write 118 units for our perimeter. Okay? So that's perimeter of irregular polygons. My circles aren't doing a very good job today. There we go. All right, so this one is a little bit of a challenge one. Okay, so here we have our fun little comic of some people digging through the earth to the other side, to China. And it says the circumference of Earth is approximately 40,054 kilometers. If you were going to dig a hole to China, how far would you have to dig? All right, so I want you to think about this. Go ahead and pause it. Try to see if you can figure out how far you would have to dig, okay? And then if you think you have the answer, hit play to check your work. All right, so first you got to think about what it is you're looking for. So this is the Earth, okay? Around the Earth is the circumference, basically what I just drew, okay? What you're looking for is digging through the Earth. If you're here, digging to over here. What is that? That's diameter. So you're looking for diameter, okay? Now remember our formula, we have it up there. Circumference equals diameter times pi. We know circumference. Circumference is 40,054. So that's C. We're looking for diameter. We don't know that. And we know pi, or at least our approximation of pi. Okay. So remember, if you have an equation where you only have one variable that you don't know, you can solve. Right? If I do the reciprocal 3.14, that will cancel out over here. And then over here, all I'm going to have to do is end up dividing that circumference by pi. So 454, or 40,054, divided by 3.14. And you get, if we round it off, approximately 12,756, what's our unit? Kilometers. So that's the diameter of Earth. If you were able to dig through Earth, that's how far you'd have to go, pretty far. Okay. So remember, you can use these formulas, plug in, and solve for the missing variable. All right, last one. So here's another irregular polygon. I want you to go ahead and pause it, fill in all the missing sides, and then hit play to check your work to see if you got the right perimeter. Okay. All right, so let's check our work. First of all, let's figure out how many sides there should be. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, it's an octagon, so I should have 8 numbers altogether. So start filling in the ones that don't have numbers. That's 7 and 7, and then those are all the obvious ones. Okay. This whole area from here to here is 47. This is 7. So that means this along here would have to be the other 40, which means this is also 40, okay? So our only one left now is this one up here, okay? So we got this whole thing is 45. We got 29 of it right here and another 9 of it right here. So that's 38. So that leaves us with 7 more. So this is also 7, okay? So now we have our 8 numbers. Make sure you add them all up. Sometimes it's a good idea just to go around the shape and make sure that each one is accounted for. Just remember where you started. That also would be a mistake if you forgot a number or doubled up a number. So in this case, we have 184, and we have a unit of meters. Okay. So that is finding perimeter and circumference.